So, so we want to prove this proof is given by Rishiraj. Okay, I will just give that proof. He has written, he has sent me a file. He's also here. He has sent me a file. I have made slight changes and it follows immediately. The proof is trivial. So I will just give that. And essentially the proof is given by him. Okay. So D in B of H is normal. Then norm T equal to supremum of norm X less than or equal to 1. Mod of Txx. Okay. So of course clearly, I mean clearly norm Tx is this. Maybe you see in general you can define this as a norm. See what the point is in general. Maybe not proof. This is just a remark. Norm T naught or something equal to supremum of for any operator. We can define this. Okay. But then it will not be a norm, no? Only for self-adjoint if Txx equals 0. No, I think it will be a norm. Okay.
Yeah, it's a norm by polarization identity.
Yeah, right. So then norm T0 is a no. Yeah, correct. Polarization identity applied to the sesquilinear from Txx itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, norm means positivity I'm talking about. It's not just, yeah, positivity will follow from that. Correct. Yeah, that's right. So norm T naught is a norm, is a genuine norm on P of H. Okay. And it is equivalent to norm T. It's a norm which is equivalent to the original norm. Okay, this I leave it as an exercise. Okay. You can see that it's actually equivalent. I mean, certainly this norm is small, norm T naught is smaller than norm T. You have to prove that norm T is less than or equal to some constant times that. Okay. So this will leave it as an exercise. I mean, some interesting exercise. But our aim is to complete this course, I have to prove this. So this proof of the proposition, this is by Rishiraj. So essentially the proof is this. So we certainly have that this supremum, one second, I'll just get that back. Because this is certainly less than norm T. Okay. We only have to prove that actually this is the supremum, or we have to prove the inequality other way, or we have to prove that it is. I mean, it's actually a supremum. Given epsilon greater than 0, we should find something which is greater than T minus epsilon. So the actual idea, I mean, see, this will all usually follow for a normal compact operator. I mean, but we cannot use that because we prove the spectral theorem using this. So we cannot use that. But what I'm saying is, in general, it's clear for a normal operator if you have spectral theorem because then when it is normal compact, it's given by eigenvalues. Okay, the operator is, it's just scalars on the eigenspaces, and it's a diagonal operator. So you can just, the norm is just the supremum of the eigenvalues, and certainly which is same as which is supremum of this kind of values. Lambda en will itself, the norm will be attained. The supremum will be attained on that set itself. But when it is not compact, then the something in the spectrum is not an eigenvalue. We cannot use that. So I was trying to use the spectral theorem, the integral representation, to prove it, and I was not getting. So, but then the right thing to look at is approximate eigenvalue, as noticed by Ishiraj. So that works. Okay, so it's the right thing to use is approximate eigenvalue. For a general operator, when operator has eigenvalues, we can use our eigenvalues. But when it does not have eigenvalues, we can use the approximate eigenvalue to prove it. The proof is immediate. Okay, so norm x less than or equal to 1. So this is less than that. To prove the other way, so we know that, so since so norm t is equal to supremum of mod t in sigma of t. So since so this is since this is equal to r of t, norm for t, since t is normal, okay, since t is normal, norm t is same as the spectral radius, and spectral radius is this. But then since sigma t is compact, there exists t naught in sigma t such that norm t is equal to mod t naught, right? That is true. On the other hand, since t naught is since t is normal and since t is normal, again, since t is normal, there exists approximate eigenvalue. So there exists xn in H with norm xn equal to 1, and t minus t naught xn goes to 0, or we can remove the norm. This goes to 0. This goes to 0, right? So in particular, t minus t naught xn will go to 0. But then the second term is just t naught, since norm xn with norm xn equal to 1, I have written it. So since norm xn equal to 1, the second term is just, second term in this expression is just t naught. So the second term is a constant, so that will converge. So in particular, this txn will converge to t naught. Okay. And that's what we want. So in particular, mod of this will converge to mod t naught. So this is just real numbers, positive numbers, and we know that txn xn is smaller than t naught for all, for every x, in particular for every xn, for all n. So we know that so given epsilon greater than 0, there exists xn naught such that mod t xn naught is greater than mod t naught minus xn. So this implies the supremum. This implies, and we know that it's always less than that. This kind of expression is always less than that. This implies mod t naught is equal to supremum. That's all. So it's done. So this was something which was not proved in the proof, even our original proof of spectral theorem for compact operators. So once this is done, that is complete. And then we didn't use this while proving the spectral theorem for normal operators. So I think the spectral theorem, everything is complete now. So I will stop recording and then we will discuss other things, and then maybe we will come back to, I will use the iPad again.